advertising campaign where the guy liked his shaver so much that he bought the company. Well, a couple of weeks ago, we had a conversation about tracking your own baggage, seeing as the baggage handlers and the airlines don't do it very well for you. And we ended up talking about all of the technology that you're able to do that with Matt Dickerson, who has a podcast by that name, Tech Talk. And we liked it so much, we're turning him into a regular guest. And here he is with us again here at ABC Illawarra. G'day, Matt.
Good morning, Nick. Great to be chatting to you again.
Last time we talked about the various options available to people if they want to be able to track their own luggage. There's all sorts of technology that's connected to Bluetooth and your Apple phone and other people's Apple's phones. Now, there's been a bit of a development in the Apple AirTag story, or at least there is in Florida. Tell me about that.
Indeed. So we did talk about that in terms of people being able to find their own luggage at the airport. This one was a little bit different. This particular person lost their luggage, which is not absolutely out of the realm of normal everyday things that happen.
It's totally normal now.
That is seeming like totally normal. But normally when people go and check their Bluetooth tracker, they go to the airport and they say, I can see it's here at the airport. In fact, it's about 150 metres in that direction. Could someone go over there and find it? This particular person, when the luggage was lost, said, it's not at the airport. I've actually just found it. It looks like it's at someone's home. So they talked to the airport staff. They went through a process there. The airport staff said, well, that seems a bit unusual. We should engage the police here and get them to come along and have a look. And of course, they went and knocked on the door of this particular home where it had been tracked to. And it turned out it was a baggage handler who happened to live there. So he's now been charged with 2 counts of grand theft after they found not just that particular bag, but a few other bags and a few other missing pieces that had gone missing from the airport there. So he'd worked out his own little scam where he'd look at luggage, look at things that looked pretty good in that luggage, and then say, I might just take the whole bag home. Unbeknownst to him, he took everything in that bag home, including the Bluetooth tracker. So it's being used for a whole range of things these days, including catching thieves.
Oh, my gosh. So as part of that story, the guy allegedly knew what an AirTag was and had kind of destroyed it, but by then it was too late.
That's right.
They'd put it in the police database and it went to the courts, right?
Yeah, that's right. And that's exactly what happens on a tracking device. Once it gets near another device, so in this case AirTag uses Apple, so once it gets near another Apple phone, it will record that and say it was last seen, whether it might have been 5 seconds ago or 2 hours ago. But again, once that particular gentleman got it home and then opened the bag up and went, oh no, there's an AirTag there, sure, destroy it. But if he happened to have an iPhone, or if there happened to be another iPhone or iPad somewhere nearby in that whole journey, then the owner of that particular AirTag could look on their phone and say, oh, it was last seen at this address, it was last seen 3 hours ago, 2 days ago, whatever it might have been. But the bottom line was it still recorded the location the last time it was seen. So destroy it all you like. It won't give you an up-to-date location, but it will give you that last location. What he needed to do.
So we'll track it to last location. It won't say lost, we're dead. It'll say, okay, here's the last time we saw it. Oh,
correct, because it doesn't know it's been destroyed. All it knows is that at that particular moment in time, that particular tracker can't see nearby another iPhone or iPad. So it doesn't know whether it's destroyed, out of range, flat battery, whatever. It just knows it was last seen in a certain location. So the message here, Nick, for airport baggage handlers is, check the bag before you steal it and then destroy the AirTag that's there before you get it home.
Right. Fair. Or, on the other hand, to passengers, would it be reasonable to make sure your AirTag's not completely visible, to hide it somewhere in the bag?
And that's normally what people do. They'll get their tracker or whatever tracker brand they use and they'll put that down in a pocket somewhere or tie it in or tape it in somewhere, because the first thing is you don't want it to fall out while the bag's been moved around. You don't want it to fall out somewhere. So you want it in there somewhere that's tucked away. But the second thing, which I hadn't actually thought of until I saw this story, the second thing is obviously you want to tuck it away somewhere that if someone does open your bag, they don't see the AirTag sitting there. Obviously, they want to make sure that the AirTag is obviously tucked away somewhere. And it's using Bluetooth, so it's not as if it can't go through the bag. You bury it nice and deep, it's going to get through your bag. Most people don't have a lead-lined bag, for example, so it's going to get through the materials that a bag is made of quite easily.
Right. I got a special baggage handling song, which I'll play in just a minute, but not before I go to another story, which is about artificial intelligence kind of trying to do the right thing, but ending up catching people. I mean, this quite often happens on Facebook. Maybe a picture of a beautiful picture of a breastfeeding mother gets flagged and banned because it's, alleged nudity. What's the latest with the Google artificial intelligence flagging someone's account, man?
Yeah, it seems like something fairly simple to do. In this particular case, there was a father who was worried about his young son, very young son, had an infection on his groin. So he took a photo of that and then emailed that through to the doctor that he'd been dealing with and said, can you please have a look at this? I'm a bit worried about that. Now, that email goes through a process, and Gmail that he might have been using for that picked up that this was potentially child sexual abuse material. So, of course, an automatic report went through the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children. He was flagged. The police were notified. It went completely over the top, which was something that was relatively innocent. His account was closed down. He's made complaints to Google and they've said, sorry, you're identified as a sex offender now. Like, it just went so far over the top for what was, in this particular scenario, something fairly innocent. Now, again, I know that Google and Apple are the same and Facebook are the same. They've all tried to set up various processes to stop child sexual material, explicit material being transmitted via all the different methods that could be transmitted. Unfortunately, by putting those safeguards in place, you do actually catch some innocent people sometime, and it's very hard for someone to then prove that it was just an innocent photo that was being sent, or, as you said, something that was in the background. There might be a beautiful picture of, as you said, a baby and a mother, and suddenly that's flagged as sexual material. So we've gone to the stage of trying to safeguard this, but sometimes we catch some innocent people in those loops.
Yeah, AI has trouble with context. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's right. But also,
there's a deeper issue here, though, which is that, I mean, the guy's taken a picture on his personal phone, sent it to his doctor, and yet that has got into the hands of Google, who said, oh, okay, we'll scan your personal picture. Thank you very much.
That's right.
Does that mean any picture I send to anybody is, or if I send it via Gmail, that they're getting scanned?
Well, it's worse than that, Nick. You send an email from person A to person B, pretty good chance it's going to go through some sort of filtering or scanning process. But Apple got in a little bit of trouble earlier when they said that they announced a child safety plan, and not only would it scan messages that were sent, but it would scan photos that were sitting in your iCloud account. So you didn't even have to send that bit of material. You could take a photo of your kids playing at the beach and they happen to pull their swimmers off and they're running around naked on the beach, the 6-year-old kids you might have there. You take a photo of your kids playing, and it's only there on your phone, and then you back up your phone to iCloud because you want to protect all these beautiful family memories, and suddenly iCloud can pick up that that's a photo that might be exploiting young children, and suddenly you get a knock on the door from the police. So that was something that Apple certainly had a bit of an issue with, but their solution was when materials were identified, there then was a human actually looking at those to try and give it a bit of context. So that was their solution to try and stop someone suddenly having a raid on their house because they took a photo of their kids out on the beach.
Oh, gee, that's a
It's
worry.
scary stuff, isn't it?
Matt, always good to talk to you, mate. Thank you very much. We'll do it again soon.
Looking forward to it every fortnight, Nick.
Matt Dickerson, Tech Talk, the podcast, if you want to find out all the latest in tech with some of these fascinating stories. He's not only dealing with that with AirTags, but with all sorts of technology. It's great fun. You're with Nick Reinberger, ABC Laura.